Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time to join the webcast today on how we can use automation to address cloud misconfigurations, reduce risk, and cut costs. I'm joined today by Alex Noble, Senior Sales Manager for EMEA here at Rapid7, and Daniil Parwani, a Senior Partner Solutions Architect for AWS. Today, Alex and Daniil will be walking us through the current landscape as it relates to securing modern dynamic cloud environments, and specifically the role that automation can play in helping address these misconfigurations and even cut costs. We know the idea of automation can be daunting for some, and we'll talk through how taking a phased crawl, walk, run approach to implementing automation can help make the process easier, as well as some recommendations as the type of things we would recommend automation at each stage. Before we dive in, I'll turn it over to Daniil to talk a little bit about AWS and the Rapid7 partnership.
Thanks, Ryan. Hi, everyone. This is Daniil Parwani. I am a Senior Partner Solutions Architect with AWS. Rapid7 is one of our premier security partners. They've achieved 3 AWS competencies. Insight IDR has a security competency. And they also have 3 partner programs, validations, and 20+ AWS certifications. As one of our leading partners, we do try to have our customers help customers solve solutions by helping them solve a lot of problems, and we also give them a better together approach. So what we try to do with Rapid7 is we work closely with them, integrate a lot of our native services, and then provide a complete end-to-end secure landscape. Going ahead, let's talk about the vastly increasing complexity as it comes to virtual environments. So as part of digital transformation, what you're seeing now is administrators have moved from maintaining around 500 servers to 2,000 virtual machines to more than 10,000 instances. Now, these servers used to be on-premise and used to be physical servers, but now we're working with virtual machines. We adopted virtualization, and with virtualization, we also are moving to public clouds. Now, when we are maintaining these virtual machines in the public cloud, when it comes to security throughout this transformation, the challenge is that many of the tools and processes used by teams to manage and secure these workloads are not able to keep up with the pace of innovation. As we grow forward and we build and we scale, it's responsibility of the clouds in order to ensure that we provide them as much of a secure landscape as possible. So as we look towards securing these clouds, we also look towards securing services. Looking on the screen, we see that AWS has native cloud security services, which are powerful, and we should definitely use them. We adhere to the well-architected framework. So when we talk about the well-architected framework, it's essentially providing security in all different landscapes. Security in the infrastructure space, security in the endpoint space, in the identity and access management space, security for observability in terms of detective controls, also compliance reporting. So we have different native services that cater and adhere to all of these segments in order to ensure your designs and your tools, your workloads, your applications are as secure as possible. However, at the same time, when your administrators, when your developers are using these native tools, do you have a single pane of glass? Do you have a single tool, a single view or standardized view where you can see which is the most high priority security risk? Or are all your workloads protected? Is everything being reported, audited, and everything being observed as you want to, and you can just click and see what is the most important task or the high priority task you should address? In order to ensure this, combine forces, and AWS and Rapid7 do this by integrating some of our native services with Rapid7 offerings and helping customers solve these problems as they transform to the cloud. With AWS, we also have something called the shared responsibility model. So at AWS, security is a top priority. And in lieu of that, what we try to do is, when it comes to security, we divide it into 2 parts. So with the shared responsibility models, security in the cloud is something which we ask our customers to take care of or to be responsible for. What we mean here is, when it comes to security of the cloud, which is the physical hardware, the infrastructure, the foundation blocks, the founding blocks in terms of compute, in terms of networking, in terms of security of the actual physical locations where your servers are. AWS is responsible for all of this, for security of the cloud, for security of infrastructure, for security of things that run in a public cloud. But when it comes to security in the cloud, this means the operating systems that you're running on your compute resources. This could mean an application you're running on top of a resource, patching these applications, patching these operating systems, ensuring that you have the latest updates, ensuring that a service that you're using is locked down. When it comes to these kind of actions, security in the cloud, we expect our customers, and together we can ensure that we provide security of the cloud and security in the cloud, and have this shared responsibility, and ensure that together we can build an application, a landscape, along with the infrastructure that we have, which is completely locked down, adheres to all the compliance needs, and also provides an infrastructure, provides an endpoint, provides an identity, which can be authorized and accessed by known actors, and has the security from a top-down approach. Using the native services that we just talked about, along with the shared responsibility model, provides customers with a way to automate and reduce risk. So we have a comprehensive set of APIs and security tools like we saw, but we also integrate with our partners like Rapid7, and we provide customers with an option of using these integrated solutions to automate and to reduce risk for all their workloads that are running in the cloud. At the same time, this also allows them to focus on highly important tasks, to innovate, to improve their services. And security is something that is always a top priority, but at the same time, we want our customers to reduce any human errors, to reduce misconfigurations, to automate some of these security tasks, and have the developer, have the innovators, have these teams work towards more or highly prioritized tasks where they can continue innovating, continue building, and improve the products for their customers. I'm now going to be handing this over to Alex, who's going to talk more about how we can use automated remediation and how Rapid7 combining forces with AWS helps customers to provide automated remediation.
Thanks, Anil. That was great. And thanks, Ryan, for the introduction at the start. Just to remind the audience, my name's Alex, and I look after our cloud security sales in EMEA. And worked with cloud for a number of years. And one of the things with remediation is that it's time-consuming, it's difficult, and it's difficult because of the complexity and the risk of human error. And understanding not how I made a change, but how I actually resolved the problem is something that teams find difficult to do when you've got complex problems across, say, multiple accounts, multiple hierarchies of accounts, and potentially multi-regions or similar AWS environments where you're running potentially with different services, different controls, and different regulations, but perhaps a consistent problem that's going through them. When you start thinking about remediating that, automation is absolutely important to help your teams understand what's going on and take away the routine work, simplify the basic remediation work, and reduce those risks that are sitting there inside the configurations that have been generated either by human error, by change, or possibly because you've acquired another business and are integrating their cloud, or because your migration program, as you review it, you start to find areas that you'd like to address. With Rapid7 and AWS working together, what we can do is make sure that the right tools are used for the right environment, and giving you that confidence that you will be able to get that time saved, reduced risk, improved compliance and consistency, all at a lower cost point, and with improved developer and cloud management operations productivity. Now, we recommend approaching with a crawl, walk, run basis. And the reason for that is if you try and do everything at once, it becomes really, really hard. So once you start, you've got visibility and observability of your assets. You're using Rapid7 Insight Cloud Security to understand what is out there and what's it doing in your cloud environment. The first part of this to progress is automating the notifications and making sure that you get used to the idea of what is running, what's unexpectedly running, and so you can start to see risks, where configurations are changing, particularly if that config change is unexpected, giving you situational awareness so that these automated notifications and automated changes advise you where there are potential incidents or unauthorized access. And getting these notifications streaming, operationalizing that workflow will give you huge efficiency gains. And you can make sure that the right teams know about it, because this may be a security team issue, but security is a team sport. And as well as the security team, you may well need to be talking to DevOps, you may need to be talking to cloud engineering, you may need to be talking to a number of owners. And if you can all ensure that they get the right notification automated and put into the right workflow for them, you'll go a long way to start helping that team form, bond, and enable your ability to manage risk and misconfiguration in the cloud. Once you've got that up and running and are starting to look at how we tackle those notifications, how we respond, and how we work with that, you're ready for more extensive automation. And with this, you can help make sure that standards are being met from all angles. So if someone removes a tag or a badge, you can ensure that it's either replaced or an alert is generated, or you can start to understand what's happening in that environment where these changes are taking place. And here we're starting to think about automation as a force multiplier for your team. So as examples, starting to ensure compliance and regulated industry standards. And it doesn't matter if you're financial services or public sector, or just a retailer managing GDPR for your customer data. You still need to make sure that you're protecting that data, protecting those environments, and hardening your attack surface. Where you've got multi-regions and multiple policies, this can ensure that you've got the right level of response, and you're starting to automate all those basic tasks of a new resource is created. Has it got proper tagging? Have you got the proper IT hygiene practices? Is log management taking place properly? Has every resource been configured to set up logs? Generate an alert if not. And you can also start to manage shadow IT, where either departments or individuals start setting up their own environments, perhaps because they're in a hurry and trying to deliver against schedules. In those cases, we can get visibility of it, you can get that notification, and again, you can start to deal with it. But you can also, with Rapid7 ICS, start to make sure that those notifications are fed into the different environments that you need to manage it, fed into the different workflows, and you're getting cross-visibility of all these challenges. Once you've developed that maturity, you're ready to run, and you can start to look at moving fast and running automation at scale. In this case, what we're starting to look at is how you ensure you've got a consistent approach to fixing issues across the cloud. Because with automation, that's one of the things you can assure. When an issue arrives, it's not up to each engineer as to how they want to fix it. It's actually going to be standardized. It's going to be done in a consistent way, and you can ensure for a given issue, there's a consistent approach to fixing it. The sort of examples you might want to think about is, we've mentioned tagging, but you can enforce tagging more tightly. API key deactivation. You can start to think about locking down S3 buckets, zeroing out access control lists, managing bucket policy more tightly. In all of these cases, where those policies are too loose or non-compliant, you can now get visibility of when they've changed, but also automatically revert them. Because if they've changed without going through the correct process, that is a bad thing. It is not necessarily a legitimate change. And you can calibrate where you want the automation to run and at what level. But with this, as an example, if it's out of hours and an S3 bucket suddenly makes itself open to the internet with an open IP address, then you can implement rules that say Monday 9 to 5, we put that into the SOC team as an alert. Weekends, we automatically remediate it. We close that internet access because there's no legitimate reason that it wouldn't have been pre-approved. And we generate an alert for the SOC team, but we respond to it immediately because this is all the hallmarks of exfiltration. This gives you huge advantages when you start to think about how you might shut down configurations when non-compliant resources are detected. It helps you manage your IAM permissions, again, ensuring that least privileged access is automated and exceptions are therefore managed as exceptions, and you don't get configuration or privilege drift. It allows you to really think about reduced dwell time. So when we're starting to think about time to respond, how fast can you deal with these issues? With automation, once you've identified an issue, it can be responded almost immediately and remediated. And it also allows you to sweep up and tidy up on an automated basis. So you can set up rules to automate where resources are not being used or are over-provisioned or forgotten about from past projects, from test environments or dev environments that have been used but not fully closed down. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you'd automatically shut those, but you can use automation to identify them, run scripts against them, understand that environment, and then make sure that the appropriate alerts are being generated for the management of it, that it's tagged appropriately, and you can get visibility in it. In short, what this allows you to do is harden your attack surface at all levels and potentially close avenues for security events or data loss that otherwise might take place, where configurations would be on the to-do list and remediation would be, on the priority list, but until teams got through that list, those individual incidents would not be being managed. When we think about Insight CloudSec and its capabilities, this is a fully integrated cloud-native security platform, and it's got, on the left-hand side, you'll see the 5 main use cases that we're talking about, and we support all of those with best-in-class automation. And we provide with that a comprehensive set of support to make sure that you have the resources and capabilities you need. Within, for instance, governance, risk management, compliance, we provide a full set of data packs and compliance packs for GDPR, PCI, AWS, foundations, and similar, so that you have those packs that you can measure against. And again, those are areas where if a resource that was previously compliant is now suddenly non-compliant through changes, you can set it up to automate so that it either generates an alert, generates an event, or is auto-remediated, depending on what prioritization you want and how you wish to manage it. With that, we cover a wide range of the cloud environments, from your security posture management to Kubernetes. We support infrastructure as code, and we support your identity and access management, as I touched on earlier, in terms of managing configuration and permissions drift. And the full life cycle here is extremely powerful in terms of thinking about managing your test environment, your dev environment. As your infrastructure and code is developed, we can manage the configuration of templates and remediate where, say, your Terraform templates are non-compliant, through to production and into containerized workloads with Kubernetes, either ECS or EKS for Kubernetes, and supporting those environments and providing automation again where those environments drift or configuration change takes place or policy is breached. And when we think about the sort of questions cloud security teams are facing, these are complex environments, and the native tools are really powerful at giving you answers to specific questions. But once we start to think about combinations of questions, it can be hard to get that integrated view, particularly when we're talking cross-region or across multi-accounts, where you've got different permissions or different regulatory environments enforcing for those different account hierarchies. So here's a typical question that we help customers with, where we're thinking about not just IAM permissions, not just what's access to storage buckets, but which storage buckets relate to the key applications, which of those buckets have got exposed instances, and of that, which of those are actually exploitable? Because being exposed is not great, but being exploitable is far worse. And that multi-factor, multi-dimension approach to focus in on the highest priority risk and your highest priority vulnerability is hugely powerful, and where EC2 comes in. Automation supports that because you can potentially identify those very rapidly, and you could be scanning for those constantly. And when we think about exploitability, if we think about a newly discovered vulnerability, it's often very difficult to work out where that affects your environment, and where that does, when that vulnerability has been announced, say, for exposing a particular database or a particular code stream, where that vulnerability has been announced, where in your environment are you actually exposed, and which of those do you need to prioritize? With Rapid7, you can get that insight, and you can draw on the power of the automation to rapidly pull up the answers, prioritize, and then remediate at the level of remediation that you're comfortable with running on an automated basis. I've touched on this in the previous discussion, but with layered context, what we're providing you for our customers is this ability not just to monitor the cloud in real time, which is very powerful, but understand the meaning of that monitoring. What is important, which risks matter above all others, and how do you manage that risk in the right way? There's a lot of noise in cloud, and this is a good, and that noise comes from a good reason. With cloud, you get far better reporting than you do on-prem. AWS's logging is far superior to most on-prem environments, and it would be very, very difficult to get the same transparency of information from your on-premises environment as AWS provides through CloudTrail and CloudWatch. But the downside of all that transparency and all that information is that you do get more noise. And prioritizing within that is one of the things we can help you with. And within that noise, automating the workflows so that you can move as fast as the information is coming in is really helpful. And it helps your security teams focus on the complex, difficult issues while taking away the routine configurations or the misconfigurations that take place, while giving you more time for your engineers to focus on those complex, difficult questions that they add value to, and you need that specialist thought to tackle. One of our great strengths is that with Rapid7, we have event-driven harvesting, and so we can detect things very, very rapidly in real time or near real time. Generally speaking, near real time, because we are working as fast as the cloud provider has that information. So things like, say, an EC2 instance being stood up, it does take a minute or two for it to spin up in the environment, and during that, and once it's completed, then the event is triggered. And at that point, we get visibility of it. Within that event taking place, we've put 5 minutes there, but it's usually far less. We can detect those cloud resources, flag it to the security team that an event has taken place, and the security team could assess it. But with automation, you can address that automatically in terms of its prioritization. And you could even remediate it rapidly with automation. So if an event happens that is completely out of policy and with your rules configured to deal with it, say an S3 bucket is completely reconfigured to be utterly open to the internet, and it's the start of a clumsy exfiltration, you can have the policies that S3 bucket is automatically closed. And that will happen within seconds to minutes to make sure that that data is not compromised. We can do this so rapidly because we are detecting events, acting on them, and constantly monitoring the cloud in real time. But with event-driven harvesting, we put very little load on the infrastructure, and instead of drawing this from the cloud events as the AWS environment generates it, and getting our insight from the CloudTrail and CloudWatch and similar environments where all of this is being captured and we're able to respond so rapidly. Huge benefits for customers with this in terms of the risk management process, and huge benefits in terms of being able to rapidly address how the cloud can be secured in real time. And this is where we help some of our major customers in highly regulated or sensitive industries where protection of intellectual property is so important. We've touched on this earlier, but I think this is a really good example of trying to illustrate how you might want to think about automation. We've talked about crawl, walk, run from an operational perspective. When we're thinking about what sort of risks you wish to tackle, in this case, it's mostly port 22 that we're talking and port 8001 that's open. But if it's just port 8001 that's open, on a traditional model, you'd notify. One of our strengths is we're building that layered context. When we talked about that question, that multidimensional source of data, as we build it from left to right, you can see how as we add more and more context to the environment, it goes from using automation to notify, using automation to escalate it at a high priority, to using automation to just remediate it immediately. There should be no reason for a production environment with admin access to have these ports open, close them. This is the type of thing which suggests that you've got an attack or a major event underway in security terms. So if this was to be done legitimately, it would be absolutely handled and managed through the processes of making sure the security team are aware and this is being monitored tightly. So if this is happening unexpectedly, this is where you need to start looking at automating this because there are not legitimate reasons that this would be happening. And this is where automation can give you very strong protection to secure what's in your environment, making sure that you don't suffer an unexpected attack while all the information is being captured in the logs, but while it would be possible to remediate it if you'd been able to detect it and with the full context of that environment and prevent it if we can respond fast enough. And with Rapid7's response time is one of those areas where we can give you very strong protection by allowing that cloud activities to be remediated through the automated bots. We've done a lot of research on this, and our ambition is to be the company that is built for security operators. And we find that with our customers, as they mature the security program, they get very real benefits. These are samples of what sort of benefits you might expect to see. But getting security automated, for example, there at the bottom right, we're talking about a 56% more workloads in the cloud on average is what we find, because we're removing blockers. We're helping security say yes to cloud teams and helping security say yes to cloud migration. Because with automation, you can start to remove many of the things that make it difficult and cumbersome to move to the cloud where you're trying to manage all of new workloads manually. With this level of automation, with the basics done, it's much easier to concentrate on the priorities. So we see that, for example, 7 times more likely to limit damage and contain attacks to minutes, 7 times more likely to have good cloud hygiene and security hygiene in the cloud. Why? Because if your tagging strategy is enforced, if your basics are enforced, if your S3 policies are enforced, if your overall governance is enforced, alerted when exceptions are made, it's much, much easier to spot badness if you start from a clean and solid baseline than if your information environment and your cloud environment is constantly changing. And given the challenges that there can be of getting cloud security talent, automation can be a really powerful tool for aiding retention. if your engineers are working on interesting problems with the low routine work taken away, they're under less pressure from the run rate, and they can focus on the stuff that they actually enjoy, the challenging business. And so our customers who are using the automation at scale report that they're 10.8 times likely to have low security team attrition. I hope you found this interesting. We'd love to talk to you further about it. And Ryan, I think you'd like to say a few words.
Yes, thank you so much, Danielle and Alex. It was a great webcast. I think really dove in there and great insight. Thank you again for joining everybody that joined today's webcast. We'll hope you walk away from this with a little more insight and a deeper understanding on how you can leverage automation to address cloud misconfigurations, reduce risks, and even cut costs in your AWS environments. If you're interested in diving deeper in this topic, be sure to click either the link or scan the QR code that you're seeing on the screen now to download a recent ebook that was collaboratively developed by the team here at Rapid7 as well as AWS on this very topic. And as always, don't hesitate to reach out to either Rapid7 or your AWS team directly for more insight or more questions. We did have some Q&A that rolled through. I don't know that we'll have time today to answer them, but we'll definitely follow up offline for those that did submit questions. Thank you again, and have a great day.